Today's show, we're going to be talking to Maj Toure. He's running for city council in Philadelphia on a libertarian ticket, and he's also the founder of Black Guns Matter.
Yep.
And we're going to be talking today about shadow banning, and I also wanted to touch base quickly at the end on what to do about the homeless problem in Austin. I know you're not from Austin, but it's I want to hear the libertarian perspective on this.
For sure.
So with you, you said recently, I was looking on your Instagram story. You said that you've been getting shadow banned.
Yeah.
Why is that happening?
Shadow banning is happening because, one, I've used hashtags that are too much of anything is a trap. And one of the things that we've used, any group of people that wants to communicate with people of like minds via social media, you'll use a hashtag. What some of these platforms have started to do was target certain people that use certain hashtags because of their political leanings or their social constructs or, whatever. So for me, because I use hashtags like liberty, we talk about guns, we talk about freedom, talk about limited government. They've used the hashtags to throttle, kind of like your internet service provider would throttle. If you use so many of your internet minutes, your Wi-Fi connection will start getting slower. That's called throttling. In essence, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook is doing that to all of my social media platforms. The problem now, on one level, it's their stuff, right? The problem that they're opening themselves up to is they're saying that it's a free speech platform. As long as you're not saying quote unquote hate speech or unlawful things, pedophilia, sexual nature, so forth and so on, then you should be able to express yourself, whatever. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all these social media platforms that are censoring more right-leaning or liberty-leaning users are opening themselves up for an antitrust lawsuit, whether they're aware.
So are you saying that generally speaking, this is happening to right-leaning people?
Absolutely. Donald Trump Jr. follows me on social media. He talks about it a lot. We follow each other. He'll have 12 million views of a thing and like 100 engagements. So saying this to say, it's their way of suppressing a message. It's censorship in a roundabout, non-trusting way, because it will be one thing if you said our platform is only for left-leaning political views. Okay, cool. Nobody would go there, or some people would go there. But if you're presenting a thing as, free speech, as long as it's not violating rules or laws, and you're not doing that, you are lying, and so it's an antitrust situation. But yes, it's mostly right-leaning, whether you have 30 or 40,000 Instagram followers like I do, or you have 4 million or 1 million or 10 million. If you're promoting more of a right-leaning message, they're making sure that your message doesn't even get to all of your followers. So that's what a shadow ban is. They may not block your page completely, but they'll limit who can see even of your followers. Sometimes you hear people say, yo, man, I haven't seen your posts for like 2 weeks or whatever. Or in my case, even if you hit the hashtag, let's say the hashtag Black Guns Matter, right? My page, one of my posts that has Black Guns Matter on it may have 1,000 likes and let's say 200 comments. If you hit top of, when you go to the hashtag Black Guns Matter on Instagram, the top one will have like 38 likes and 4 comments. So if the algorithm, who goes to the top, is based on what ones are performing the best, if mine has 1,000 likes and 200 comments, it's dominating. And if the one that's posted at the top by Instagram is one that has 3 comments and 20 likes, clearly that's not true.
So you're saying that at this point in time, these technocratic oligarchs are they're dominating the public debate, and they have the public square, and you think that it's time for something like the Sherman Antitrust Act to go into effect and split them up because they're monopolized?
They're monopolized and they're lying. They're monopolized and it's a false representation of goods. You're saying we're here for everyone to express themselves, but you're only throttling certain people. They're lying, and I'm not a fan of, I believe in a free market. I also believe in free speech. So don't say, you're about free speech and you're actually censoring certain organizations or certain people. That's just wrong. It's not even like a legitimate way to hide it. Again, if I have the hashtag Black Guns Matter, it didn't exist before me. I own the actual term. Then my hashtags of Black Guns Matter aren't showing up in the top 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's because they don't want this person to, when you search a particular hashtag, when going to the top, that's the first one that shows up. So if other people are interested in learning about you, your movement, and what you're doing, if it's at the top, it's easier to do that. But if you suppress it and don't put it there, don't make that person's hashtag show up, it makes it a little bit more difficult to find that message.
Right.
And that's what they're doing.
Is something like, okay, so for people that don't understand how Instagram and Facebook advertisement works, you have to get approved to run ads for things that are political or social issues, right? And would you say that shadow banning also applies to people getting not getting approved for certain ads? Because I started my show with video recently, and I've been putting stuff on Instagram, and I tried to put a couple of ads out there about, I was talking about how, how they said the OK sign is now racist?
Yeah.
I tried to put an ad out there about that, and they said that it was profanity, and it was declined.
Yeah, they're lying. I mean, listen.
But that is under the umbrella of shadow banning, correct?
Right. It absolutely is. And maybe even more so when approving ads, because ads, there's somebody that looks at the actual ad. And if the whole room is...
Oh, there's an actual human being looking at the ads?
So a lot of times it goes through, how like you say, hey, I've done this thing and I've been wrong. Sometimes at a certain point, if it gets up the chain, a human will look at it. That's part of that process.
Okay, because I've had multiple ads denied. It's not just 1 or 2. It's been like 4.
Right. You're hitting algorithms and key phrases and key words: liberty, freedom, gun. You know what I mean? Tyranny. Those words are words that's in that lexicon of these are bad words now. Leave it up to Zuckerberg and the crew. And Facebook owns Instagram. We didn't have these problems on Instagram, let's say however many years ago, but now it's mirroring it.
And that's why people are saying it's monopolized, because Facebook now owns it.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. If you continue to be innovative and you keep buying up stuff that people sell it to you, cool. I don't care how big you get. Where you lose me, because again, I'm a fan of the free market. If the person didn't want to sell it to you, they wouldn't have sold it to you. Right? But I'm a fan of the free market. At the same time, if you're gobbling up companies and then lying about what services.
Hey, you cut out, man. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think you're coming back. I think you might have bad reception.
Yeah, it should be clearing up now. I went through a bunch of trees.
Oh, yeah, okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah, so in essence, someone needs to sue them. And on top of that, now will be the perfect time to create a competitive social media platform.
Yeah.
One is like Instagram with I want something with absolutely no censorship. None.
Well, didn't somebody create another platform?
The last I heard was Jordan Peterson and some other, big tech money was supposed to be creating something. I don't know if it came into fruition yet, but I would love to be supportive of that. I would love to get involved on the ground floor with that, because what they're really afraid of is there's more diversity of thought, more right-leaning thought than they would allow or would like to have the general public believe, And so because of that, they just are doing what they do to their side, which is, it's what Google did. They were innovative. Then they grew. Then they started trying to squelch the competition. It's what those corporations do. The funny thing is they would continue to grow and be flourishing if they didn't focus so much on censorship and suppression, if they focused on freedom and liberty, because that's how Google came into existence. That's how Amazon came into existence, creating ideas and things.
And opening up dialogue, too.
Right.
Because it's the free flow of information.
Right. And that's what we need to do. So these are all things that I champion, and I think that, if I get to 100 million first, I'm gonna create it. If not, I'll be willing to work with any corporations or companies that's in that space where they want to make more freedom of speech and more free thought available to the public as opposed to censorship.
Gab. Okay, I remember what it was called. I just found it. It's called Gab. You ever heard of that?
No, what is that?
It was what people. This is coming from the Guardian, which is biased, but it says it's the alt-right's social media alternative. So people like Alex Jones, Gavin McInnes, those types of the alt-right type people, they got banned from Twitter and from Facebook and Instagram, and they moved over to. I don't know if Alex Jones did, or even if McInnes did, but those types of people is what I mean. They moved over to this thing called Gab, but I don't know if how legitimate and how I don't know what the expanse of that is. You know what I mean?
No, what they need to do is, and again, I would be open to something like this. What they need to do is get somebody
I'm losing you again.
Oh shit, I'm going through trees again. What about now?
You're good now.
All right. Yeah, getting with somebody like myself that wants to help expand the platform that they have and talk about it more. Like, I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing. I'm looking here on this article, and they're saying it's the racist version of Twitter is what they call it. Did you hear what I said?
The racist version of Twitter?
I mean, yeah, I think that's what they call it just because it's the right-wing version. I'm not really sure. I mean, I don't give much credence to a lot of these publications because they seem to call anything that they disagree with racist.
Right.
So, I don't know what the point is.
And so what? So what if it's racist? So what? I don't care. I don't care because, okay, you can be racist. That's freedom of speech. All you doing is showing me why I don't fuck with you. I don't.
Yeah.
Everyone has the right to say whatever they want to say. I don't have to agree with it or even like it.
Well, here's an example. In my hometown, I'm from Dayton, Ohio, and they had a Ku Klux Klan rally there, and there were, thousands of counter protesters that showed up, and only 8 members of the actual Ku Klux Klan that showed up. And I think, you give them a platform, they speak a bunch of bullshit, and then they look like assholes, and nobody listens to them anymore.
Right. That's all you got to do. That was the whole makeup of the Ku Klux Klan. They all came to Dayton for that thing. It was them 8. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, forget them. Let them look. Freedom isn't just stuff that you are
agree
cool
with.
Right. And it's like, yo, you got the right to do that. I got the right to ignore your silly ass. And that's just what it is. And we have to think of it from that perspective. If you don't like something on a social media platform, you can just scroll past it.
Yeah.
As opposed to corporations now potentially affecting the shareholders negatively because you catch this big suit. Now the public shares get, take a hit. Or you could just like, yo, grow up. Somebody says something silly. I scroll past it. I don't follow them, or I unfollow them, or I block them. That's
so how old are you?
I tell everybody I'm 65 because then everybody has to respect me.
Yeah. Well, I think that I think that you're maybe a couple of years older than me. I'm 26, but the people I see that are getting triggered and upset about all these things generally don't seem to be people that are older. They're a lot of younger kids. You know what I mean?
They're trying to find their way, and they think that a part of revolution is arguing against things, all the time.
Like a contrarian would, almost?
Right. They want to be contrarians, and the reality is I promote what I love more than bashing what I hate. So I'm talking about Black Guns Matter. I'm talking about the city council campaign. I'm talking about going to the gym. I'm talking about great food. I'm talking about, getting $100 million and benefiting my community. Right. I don't care what the Ku Klux Klan talks about. They're not even on my radar. I don't care. I don't think about them. I don't evaluate them. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Okay, so last thing before we move on to this other thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about the homeless thing, but I will say this: I interviewed a couple of sex workers on my show, and they're not right wing at all. They're left wing. They're the opposite, and they also have gotten a lot of their content and whatnot banned from these social media platforms because it's considered, not derogatory, but it's like nudity, promiscuous content, stuff like that. But then these social media platforms, they let celebrities go on there and show just about whatever they want. But then when somebody that's not as well known shows something, they get in trouble. What's your take on that?
I understand why, if it's physical nudity, right? Because, okay, porn, you're supposed to be 18 years old or older to watch. I could get them blocking some of that content, but a lot of times it don't be that. It'll just be, well, your value system isn't from the Judeo-Christian standpoint per se, so we'll block you. That is censorship. That's modern day book burning. It's like if you paint nude women and men, right? That's art. That's not pornography. But it falls because it's nude. It falls under that. So their levels of interpretation are based on the flavor of the day, and so our job is to defund and or create alternative means so we can fully express ourselves.
See, I think that something like what you're saying, where a lot of right wing people would go there because they would be able to talk about whatever they want to talk about. But I also think people like sex workers and other people that might be on the left side of things that get censored from the mainstream social media content as well. I think they might also go there, and it would almost be like a real diversity of ideas.
Here's what you do. I think I'm gonna do this today because I thought about it a while back. I can't remember who said it, but it was a great idea. I'm gonna put all my content on Pornhub. They're not gonna censor me on Pornhub.
They don't give a fuck on Pornhub. I follow them on Instagram too.
Right? Why not take all of the content that I have and I put to IGTV, YouTube? Okay, put it on Pornhub as well. And let the ad revenue go to Pornhub.
Hey, but let me ask you this: You think it would be good if some dude was sitting down to jerk off and then he clicks on a video and it's some black guy talking about guns?
I'm really handsome.
Oh my god. Yeah, man, you are selling yourself. I love the enthusiasm though. All right, so let me end with this, and we can make this short because I know you're driving and I got a lot of shit to do too. But so you're running for city council, and I'm hoping that you get in there and get it. I think you got new ideas. You got a lot of different ideas. And if you were to get into the city council, and the city council promoted and was pushing forth an idea like open camping for the homeless population within the city of Philadelphia, what would you do? Because in Austin, the city council passed an ordinance that allows any person that's unhoused to camp on any piece of public property, with the exception of City Hall, which is very hypocritical, and it's caused a lot of problems. There's been an influx of homeless people. There's been a rise in violent crimes and sexual harassment and whatnot, and it's fucking filthy, man. So what are your thoughts on that from a libertarian perspective, and what would you do to deal with it if you were in the city council?
I believe in freedom of movement. But let me also say this. I believe that people should be able to go wherever they want to. However, if it becomes a blight to the overall community, then I think there's something needs to be done about it. Now, I think that approach, so me, for example, when I get in city council, right, after hours, after City Hall closes, Philadelphia around City Hall has a homeless population. In the wintertime, I would love to see the free market solve that. I would love to see Home Depot present some heaters. I would love to see food trucks. And I want to say, hey, at nighttime, after everything, because usually it's a gate. There's gates that there's a corridor. Excuse me, not a corridor, but a courtyard in City Hall, which is the exact center of the city of Philadelphia. They usually close these big gates. Why not say, hey, can the free market come in here, do some drug screening, not tax dollars, some drug screening for people that want some, we can give some tax abatement to some companies that want to commit to feeding the homeless population just in that courtyard. And also have some heaters. Hey, Home Depot, donated however many heaters. McDonald's donated this many meals. This company paid for drug screenings. This company paid for barbershops. This company paid for porta potties. Then we say, if you stay here during the weekend, if you're homeless, you have this option. If you also would like to get a part of a construction or carpentry program, you can do that if you're homeless.
So you think work programs would work?
Yeah, I think those programs will work if you're feeding people that are already homeless and you already have the location and you're moving them out of visible sight. And they can get a hot meal overnight, and it gets cold as hell here in Philly.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
The only way that makes sense to me is if corporations stand up, and then we, as Philadelphians, we say, this corporation wanted to add to, helping homeless people that may not have a house right now, but they also wanted to help groom them to not be homeless anymore.
But do you think that they should be allowed to camp in public?
I think that it is a blight, but I think that if we don't want them to be in public spaces, we should assist them in the process of developing them. I mean, we're talking about the guys and women that are not mentally disturbed, okay? But if they just down in their luck, I would rather corral those people into a location that they're safe, there's less crime, it's cleaner, and if City Hall's going to be fucking closed anyway afterwards,
then what does it matter?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I just think that I've been doing interviews with the homeless. I've interviewed 40 or 50 homeless folks now, just around Austin, just with a camera and a microphone. And I talk to a lot of them. I talk to them like I talk to you, and you talk to people, like they're like my drinking buddies or some shit. I mean, I'm not talking to them like I pity them, and I'm not talking to them like they're pieces of trash. I'm like, hey, what the fuck are you guys doing over here? And when I've talked to them, I've noticed that I think the problem is that almost, I'd say 90% of them are on drugs. And I'm not talking like they're smoking a blunt or they're drinking some 40s or something, or they're pounding a bottle of Jameson. I'm talking they're shooting meth and they're smoking crack and they're on heroin. I mean, it's bad. And all the drugs, it fries their brain. And then
so so the answer there is if you're on drugs, you can't be here. Boom, go handle that somewhere else.
Well, where are they gonna go then?
They're gonna find somewhere wherever they've been going. Now, or you can come here, you can be clean, come here and get help, and become an upstanding part of society, like the motherfucker. I treat it like the military. This boot camp. If you want a house and you want housing, you have to do these things. If not, you cannot have these three, this one hot and one cot. You can't have it. Now, if you don't want it, then don't have it. But the people that do want help, that do want an opportunity to advance, we make it available to them, and we don't have to use tax dollars to do it. That's the beauty of it.
So then what the people that don't want the help, they're just gonna, I mean, a lot of the homeless people I talk to as well say that they enjoy being homeless. So we just let them go.
That's freedom. We might not like it, but they have the freedom to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I get that.
Is it a blight? Right now, most cities aren't doing anything like this to actually solve that problem. So let's say if it's 1,000 homeless people, I'm just throwing a number out there. Let's say if we do something where we can help.
Well, hey, I'll give you an example. In Austin, there's between 5,000 and 8,000. Hello? Hello? Well, I think that might be it, guys. That might be the whole show.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Oh, okay, you're back. Well, you said let's use the example of 1,000 people, and I was going to say in Austin, we can just use Austin as an example. There's the city says there's about 5,000 people, and the people I've been talking to say there's closer to 8,000. The city's undercounting it.
So with that being the case, let's say if they created something like what I'm talking about, and it was able to help 4,000 people, and then they became productive, right? Then it stopped. Then if that person, one of those guys knows another one of those homeless guys, and they go, yeah, man, it helped me out. You should come be a part of this program. Then they come. You have to do a thing to whittle down. It's not going to fix it overnight, but if we can do it and present an option that is, one, giving companies an incentive to actually help with it, two, not using tax dollars, three, fixing some of these people up, you put them in these programs and then they can start rehabbing houses. Now we can create jobs around that. So my point is, are you going to get everybody? No. The people that just want to sleep on the street, you have the right to sleep on the street. Don't be on any private property though. I would really push that harder. If you want to be in public property, cool. But it's much less public property than people think. Like I'm riding through North Philly right now. This street, those steps, this ain't public property. It's private. The street is, private. But what you gonna do? Sleep in the parking spots? No, you're not. So you can either take this help, or you can be cold in the winter, or you can find somewhere off in the cut, hidden where you want to just sleep at. They have that right. Freedom does not mean I have to agree with it. And their freedom also does not mean that we have to not present a potential option, nor does it mean we got to make it easy for them sleeping. Like, for example, the train stations in Philly. In the wintertime, Broad and Walnut, it's a ton of homeless people. I would take 2 months going into fall and winter, pepper that area with all of the damn, hey guys, come here. Because at this date, we are not allowing people to sleep in train stations. Come this date. Gotta find somewhere else to go. I would push both of those. I am with pushing people, not forcing, but pushing people in the direction of positive change or getting invisible. You either gonna be working towards positive change or you're gonna get out of my line of sight because you're a blight. You're messing up the tax revenues and the property tax, and things of that nature. So there's a balance there. But I think that most homeless people, when they see that this thing actually works, when they see that, hey, you can come in here, you was gonna be homeless anyway, you can come and move in here. My thing is, okay, at nighttime, in the daytime you're moving around, you're panhandling or whatever you're doing. At nighttime, you're leaving the fence for yourself and you're gonna go to sleep. Do the sleep thing here, get a decent meal, get some sort of warmth, get a sleeping bag, right? And allow us to help you. Here's the room in City Hall where all of you 400 people,
All right. Well, we lost him completely, but that was Maj Toure. You should check him out on Instagram. His handle is at MAJTOURE, and he's also got the Black Guns Matter organization that has an Instagram, and I think it's something like at official Black Guns Matter. I don't know. I'll put it down here at the bottom of the screen when I edit this. So that was Maj Toure. That was his thoughts. Hopefully you guys liked the show today. If you did, check out anchor.fm/Faust and Furious to donate a couple bucks. More than likely, you're not going to do that, so just let a couple people know that you like the show. Either way, check me out on social media at Faust_Furious. Thanks for listening.